So, who are you?
I'm Dalagiorgos, a member of the community in which I much love. One of a member of a community that has a Greek background, Australian born, in my 50s, seen a lot, learnt a lot. I'm very appreciative of who I am, where I am, what others have contributed towards what I do and so forth. I'm very humble and respect much of what has come from the past and want to work as hard as I can to give for that I have back to the community as well. So I'm very respectful and appreciative kind of guy in the community that wants to give back.
If I had to push you harder, are you an Australian Greek, a Greek Australian, a Greek, an Australian?
I'm Australian Greek.
You're Australian Greek?
Yeah.
You're not Greek Australian?
I'm very proud of being Australian. I love it. I love who I am. I'm very respectful of my Greek heritage. I'm very proud just to everywhere I do go, I say I'm Australian. I love that. But I'm a mix. I'm a cultural mix kind of Australian, but I truly will very comfortably say I'm Australian.
So the Greeks are a part of one of those communities that really came in and added to the white British Anglo-Celtic kind of tradition. They were one of the first people that came along and started to create that term of a multicultural Australia. What do you think are the benefits of a multicultural society?
Much. If we were to take into account, those that came in from the past, they brought the obvious ones is the food, the cultural sort of background, a religious different variants to what one may be used to, work ethic. I know that our community, and of the Greek, I'm talking about the Greek community, has a very, very strong work ethic, and that rubs off on to generations, and I believe also rubs off on others in our community. So that is very strong, and also what I believe is very, very apparent from them is the tolerance of having, that's something very, very strong in the Greek community. It's okay, just work with it, go forward, and things will pan out. So I think from a cultural perspective, the Greeks came over, I'll talk about the Greeks and migrants. They brought a different balance to look at, how to enjoy life. I think, because we're sort of pretty busy in lifestyle, trying to work and get ahead. Different cultures bring a different outlook at how one may choose to live, and encourage those ticks and flicks and balances in your life, and it just creates a very rich environment and a nice place to live. So I think Australia is unique, and there's so much. If you look at America and England and so forth, that's great too. They've got so much culture and integration. I think Australia, it's the way Australians are. We're laid back, we're easygoing, and I think migrants have come across and mixed their little idiosyncrasies, and it's just become even the most amazing environment to live in.
So whilst it's an amazing environment, and given the fact of, as you described yourself, a man in his 50s, you've watched obviously since the Greek migrants came over. You've seen all of those other ones that have come with the African communities and the Vietnamese communities and things like that. But do we have cultural harmony?
I believe we have a level of cultural harmony, a level of acceptance of the groups that you mentioned, you know, the African group and some others. I'm sort of watching them and I'm interested in seeing what's happening there. I'm sure they themselves will need to want to assimilate as well. Like a lot of the Greeks wanted to assimilate, and that, I believe that was a very strong position from a Greek community to want to be out there and assimilate within the landscape. One that holds within and keeps to themselves doesn't create a great environment, you know, and so I think they need to come out and want to be part of it. And then, being that I'm involved in the taxi industry, I see a lot of the migrants that come out of recent, and it's pleasing to see that they're starting to come out, and it's important that they do, because if they hold within, then there's going to be always that, what's the word?
Tension?
There may be tension, or, you know, yeah, there might be tension or a distance, you know, between our cultures. And, you know, here I am, I'm talking about our culture because I'm Australian, so I want to see this group come through and assimilate, because I know that they have a lot to offer, just from what I've seen within the taxi industry. So I'm hoping that does happen, and it happens sooner, because it needs to be, we need to come together.
So you said that it's reached a level, so what I'd like to do is push you that in 2018, if you were to rate from 1 to 10 our level of cultural harmony here in Adelaide, what kind of a score might you give that? I'd like to think it's a good 7 or so. No, I don't want to know I like to. I really want to know what you really think it is.
I'd have to say only based on knowing our history and what we've done as a community, and some of the figures that are out, the figureheads that are out there, I'd have to say a 7.
A 7?
I'd say so, a 7.
It's a very hesitant 7 you're giving there. When you said that you'd like to give it a 7, what did you mean by that?
I kind of like to hope that we're accepted. I kind of like to hope that all the efforts of all migrants are appreciated and so forth. I understand there are differences. I understand there are tensions and some, you know, uneasiness in regards to communities. But the Greek community has come out through festivals. There's an Unley festival coming up on the weekend. There's festivals all over the place. The Glendy has done an amazing job to get out there. So,
as a kid growing up 35 years ago, for example, and if I'd have been sitting here asking you the same question then about what kind of score would you give cultural harmony in Adelaide between 1 and 10, what would you have scored it then as a kid growing up?
Yeah, I'd have to say 35 years ago, 4 or 5. Sadly.
Did you say sadly?
Sadly, yeah.
Okay, so obviously something's better has happened.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Over the years, through you know, continuing programs of cultural programs like the festivals that have been promoted, Greek has been introduced in schools. It was very strong in schools, offered as a language. Shows on television, the Wog Boy sort of type scenario that came across. That Acropolis Now, actually I think Acropolis Now helped to really break down a lot of barriers. Wog Boy was a funny look at the way we come across or live. My big fat Greek wedding was another one.
Did you laugh?
I laughed.
Cringed.
I laughed, and I was very happy to see our Australian community going to watch my big Greek fat wedding. My fat big Greek wedding. It was great to see fellow Aussies of not Greek background there, and they were laughing, and I like that because it showed to me that there was an acceptance, a nice cultural acceptance of who we are. You know, we're different, but it was an acceptance. It was great, and the theatre was packed at that time when I went there. That time, so.
So you're saying that you were accepted. So let's deal with some difficult words. So, you know, in social circles over the years, various words have been thrown around, like assimilate, integrate. I want to know whether they're words that you like, or do you think that in 2018 we've got better words that we can use about striving for cultural harmony?
Assimilate because of a need in the past, and I believe a lot of our parents and so forth were strong about assimilation because wanted to be accepted as well, because they didn't like being shunned away, and it was difficult for our parents. Integration, absolute, because they were willing to integrate and offer their services and assistance wherever possible. Today, new words on that. Acceptance, tolerance, understanding, and I think the tolerance and understanding, and coming to understand, there's, it's pleasing to see people at the Semaphore Greek Festival recently. There was 38,000 people that went to the Greek Festival. It was great. They go there for the music, they go there for the dance, they go there for the food. It's an acceptance. They love that. So in the past, integration, assimilation as a need. We got to assimilate, or else we're going to be on the outer. That's not a good thing.
You were going to be on the outer of what?
On the outer of the communities, the base community being the Australian, culture, the community as such. Australian-born Australian, if I can put it that way.
You said that you felt it was difficult for your parents. Even for you, as a young Australian kid of Greek background, did you feel that you had to compromise?
Sometimes.
In that assimilation?
In the assimilation,
thing?
Yeah.
Have you got anything that you could share about that, where you felt that there were times that you...
At school?
Yeah.
Luckily for myself, I went to Prospect Primary School and Adelaide High School, and there was a very strong Greek presence. But I remember, I know a story that my wife always tells me when she was at school, because in the Greek language you might say a word that is very easy and just very pure, but when someone hears that in the Australian language, it might sound a little bit more disturbing. But she was ridiculed for using, a word that she thought was very innocent, in the Greek language and so forth. So she was always very, very mindful of how she said and came across. There were times, certain teachers may make you feel a little bit uncomfortable and so forth. So you
because of her heritage.
Of her heritage, yeah, and again, even with us too, even though we were lucky to be we were in great schools, there were friends of mine that may not have been to those schools. I know they had issues, terms being called certain names and so forth and whatever, and being ridiculed. The scene of Wogboy at the start is absolute. There's a young lad and he's got a roll that's that long with tomato, lettuce, salami or whatever, you know, dolmadas, right? Feta cheese. That's absolute. You know, we used to take packed lunches to school, and it wasn't, you know, and then I used to really look forward to pies and pasty days, right? Balfour's pies and pasties was the best, you know, so, you know, you were looked upon differently because you were different, like, you know, our even dress was different. You know, mum always make sure, you know, clean shoes, you know, wear your socks, you know, your socks the same right colour, you know, like, you know, clothes and everything. It was always, you know, so we would stand out like a beacon sometimes.
Was that
right?
because they and you, to a greater or lesser extent, were just trying very, very hard?
I think so, yeah. They were very hard
to not do the right thing?
Yeah, I believe so. They were always looking to do the right thing. Always looking to do the right thing. I've not known any one of the era that we came through that did not. I could tell you right now, the Prospect community, the Greek community, the Prospect community were, I can also say the same with the Unley community because I know a lot of them here, but they're always forthcoming, you know, let us help with a day at the fete, school fetes or anything, but they were the first to run, right. You know, because they wanted to be there, they wanted acceptance, they wanted to show, look, you know, we're willing, we're able, we're capable. Don't worry about me going into the shop. And this is true, Matthew. You know, there's always these stories about our parents going into the local deli saying, I want some eggs, but they didn't know how to say eggs. And so they would flap their, you know, like a noise, but which is, you know, funny to hear, but funny to listen to, but very daunting. Now, how does one communicate? So they look like a bloody idiot, excuse my French, right? And yet they weren't. They were just not able to communicate, but they tried so hard. So they were doing a lot of, mum and dad learned English, you know, had a helper came across and helped them to learn English because they were very keen to make sure that there were they weren't being seen to be different.
So let's go down that path a little bit more. So were there then, or are there now, taboo subjects that we don't talk about? Either that you don't talk about in the Greek community or the new migrant communities, or even that white people, white Anglo, Scottish, all of that mob, don't want to talk about because it's seen as politically correct or racist, or are there things that we're just not talking about? And where do you think those fears come from?
From a community perspective, the individual, they won't come out, and you know, there are certain political issues at the moment around the place and so forth, and whatever they may be, they're very, very careful how they manage those political issues. They'll always talk about things within the four walls and so forth, because I believe it's just that constant aim and willing to be seen to be doing the right thing. Yeah. Not because of, you know, they want to have a voice, but they are scared to come out. And I would say that, may I say that they may be scared to come out and voice and be strong in their opinion, but they'll, within their own family circles, there's much debate about certain issues that are out there at the moment and have always been out there, always debate. But to come out, they're a minority group, you know, and so we've got to be careful. We don't want to be seen to be...
Use that word. It's come up in our interviews, minority group. What do you think about that word as well?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Minority group. Yeah. Is that a nice label?
No. It's not.
Do you think the Greek community is still a minority group?
It is. It is a minority group. We're very fortunate that there's been a lot of great stories of achievement and of individuals that have, come out and been successful. And there's been so much that's come across over the last 50 years that have given us much better presence in the community. But I think we're a minority group.
So I've got a taboo subject. Taboo subject that when a lot of the Greek community came across here and the Italian community came across here, a lot of them anglicised their names.
Yeah.
And they gave themselves the equivalent name in English.
Yeah.
And that's particularly probably in your parents' kind of generation. Have we reached the stage that those people who did that can change their names back to their original Greek names?
Yeah, and they do. They do, and it's pleasing. I've seen it.
You've seen it.
And look, I'm enjoying seeing, like, second generation born Australian Greeks naming their children Yorgos, which is the Greek Yorgos, not George. Costa, which is Konstantinos. I'm enjoying that because it's their identity, it's who they are, and they acknowledge their culture, they're acknowledging who they are, and there's a lot more of that happening now, so it's great.
Is this almost like a rediscovery?
Absolute rediscovery. They're feeling comfortable with it, Matthew. They're starting to feel comfortable, which is nice to see. I'm enjoying that.
So let's go back to Konstantinos.
Konstantinos, yeah.
Do I sound like your mum or your dad?
Yes.
We've asked people to bring something of personal cultural significance.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain what you've brought and why?
Well, I've brought a bouzouki. And the bouzouki is classified as one of the most significant items of Greek culture. It, people can relate to people may not know the bouzouki, but if you name a song like Szabo the Greek, or Never on Sunday, White Rose of Athens, My Friend the Wind, you pull those songs out, people, I know that song, that's bouzouki. And so, and the bouzouki is very powerful in the Greek community, and an identity of a Greek. Greeks are music. Greeks live for music. Greeks, when I say Greeks live for music, you go to a home, and our parents' home, they're cooking, washing, doing that. There's music in the background. So song brings, a nice calm about their day. Song allows their emotion to come out or whatever, and it soothes the soul, So music is huge, and bouzouki is the Greek national instrument. And it's the most beautiful instrument to play. I've been very, very fortunate to learn the bouzouki, and I in return teach others as well, and aim to continue on as much as I can with others as well, so my friends, to promote Greek music wherever we can. So,
at what age did you start?
I started when I was 8.
Right.
So I've been playing for over 40 odd years now. So,
who's your first teacher?
My first teacher was Nick Zabaziotis, and he had a school, and there's the most amazing photograph of us bouzouki players, which should be included in some historical museum or something, because that In fact, Nick Bouzouki is probably a Greek hero that has not received the appreciation of what he's done, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be playing music, and many others now that are second born Australians wouldn't have an opportunity to learn the Bouzouki. So he's brought he himself has managed to bring the Australian community and Greek music that integrates in our community. So he alone is a hero. So I acknowledge him and do whatever I can to always talk of him wherever I may go, because he's amazing. He's a hero of our community. So, yeah.
So if you were to give me one secret ingredient, going back to the cultural harmony, if you were to give me one of Con's secret ingredients for cultural harmony, what might those be?
Tolerance, acceptance. One must have a sincere desire to want to, because you need to. I love to be able to learn of others. So that you need to understand that there is a difference of cultures, and with that it's a great opportunity to learn. So one should always have that outlook, have some tolerance and understanding, and look and seek to want to learn about someone and what they can offer, because you'll only grow from that. So that's, and I pass that on to all my students, and to whoever I can talk to. I'm always forever referring to that and saying that you must always be on the front foot to learn and to want to bring someone in, to be able to just sit across the table and talk. That's what life's all about, learning and tolerating and living and enjoying. So it's very important, and I always promote that with anyone and anywhere that I go.
So my last question, Con. Do you belong in Australia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love my country. I love where I live. I love everything it offers. I find, I find peace where I am. I would enjoy thoroughly what other countries may offer. I would love to go to Greece and see, go back to Greece and to have a look. But, I always think of Peter Allen, I always call Australia home. And look, I love where we are. I love who I am. I admire my parents and others for the challenges that they've had to endure and work very hard to overcome. I admire them and thank them, because today we live in the most rich environment, community with challenges. And with that, it's a good thing, because with that, we're forced to come to terms with tolerance, understanding, and learning about others. And I believe that's the ingredients to success wherever you may be. And I hope, and with whatever I can offer, that I encourage that and enjoy our lifestyle and the land that we live in, the most beautiful country in the world. So,
well, thank you for your time with us today.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.